gym, one more rep. And today, Michelle, who's co-owner of this incredible gym in Roxbury, Massachusetts, is going to join me. We will do a little bit of dancing and a little bit of yogic energy because we are focused on raising money for the American Diabetes Association. I will be doing 15-mile ride to the best of my ability. I think that I'll be able to on August 16th. And so the intention of this live stream is just this is a time that Michelle and I are always in the gym because I take her Zumba class, sometimes teach like one number of the Zumba class because I recently became a Zumba teacher and I'm just getting started with it as I continue to rehabilitate a spinal injury. So yoga is the class I teach after the Zumba class that Michelle is so good at teaching. And curing diabetes is a cause that's really important to both of us. So I'm going to close the door to this room since we have a lot of wonderful background music. And my hope is that by doing some live streams, a little over 2 weeks away, I know that for me it all comes down to breathing. And I started this live stream later than I wanted because I was waiting to go to the bathroom. And some of the most basic things matter when it comes to training, when it comes to something like a cycling event, which I've not actually ever done before, even though I ride my bicycle all the time. I am wondering, as I get started on this, like, what is the breath pace that I'll find for myself during the event? And I know that breathing is so essential. And when I'm amped up, I always come back to my breath. The feeling of my belly expanding and letting go. And when intention around my breath gets lost, I know that something's off for me. So I'm grateful after a really intense 2025 to have been able to spend some time here in 2026 really focused on physical healing and letting go of some of what happened for me last year. And it feels like August 16th is going to be a really important day. Not only is it my first event that's cycling, but also we're gonna bring at least some of the merch for the collaborative I started, which has some beautiful art in it. I know one of my challenges is sometimes I feel so excited that my breath becomes shallow. And that's something that happens for a lot of us. In the practice of yoga, one of the parts of yoga is pranayama. Pranayama practice is the breath practice. And after working with a lot of survivors of trauma as a therapist, I know more than ever that breath is a starting point. And often it's really about noticing the breath and seeing if the breath can be a little more full and low in the body. So when I spend time pretty much every day outdoors in the morning, I might put my hand on a tree or put my feet on the earth, as long as the earth isn't frozen, in order to feel like I am imbibing air through my feet, or like I'm in touch with another being, like a tree or like the grass, even, a pet that I know. Anything that has this sense of belonging to the earth. Hi to whoever said hi. When we are breathing, it's one way of connecting with the fact that we're here on the planet at this time. And I encourage anyone as a starting point to notice breath and to elongate and exhale if they're looking to relax. Sometimes just noticing the breath is enough. And since Michelle and I are going to be doing Zumba before the end of this live stream, sometimes when you're dancing or moving fast or even just like super focused on a task, like I think about the days when I was like on the computer a lot of the time. And still, there's a lot of adulting that gets done online. I end up looking at screens pretty frequently. I believe the research suggests that moving the body every 25 minutes is good for optimal longevity. So I've often told people, like, what are the stretches you can do while you're sitting at a desk or you're even driving a car? I often find myself doing neck stretches while sitting at a light, turning my head from side to side while riding my bicycle, not just using my eyes, but actually using more of my mobility. And having the option of moving more rather than just staying still, that's really important, I think, for most people. Some of my friends who are chiropractors are involved in body work. They're concerned about this generation of people who are looking at their phones often, ending up with like cervical spine problems, all kinds of problems of the spine, because often we don't raise the phone up to our eye level. So I say this right now, not to scare anyone, but to remind us all that we're living in an age where a lot of us forget that we have a body. And yet we do. And I'm excited to be raising money for the American Diabetes Association because diabetes can really change people's lives. I've dated people with diabetes. I've had family members and friends. I have the possibility of developing diabetes myself. It's like in my family genetics. So it's something that matters. I think particularly of some friends who have been financially impacted in huge ways and ended up with huge medical bills because their job and like the cost of diabetes care, insulin, like dealing with all of the healthcare providers, all of the ways you have to take care of yourself with what your body is doing by exercise, lifestyle choices, but you also have to like pay for all this medical stuff. It can be really devastating for people as individuals and families. So I would love to see diabetes get cured in this next generation, and this feels like such an important cause on August 16th. And it's happening, I believe, all over the country. And gosh, I'm just envisioning a day when people are like, oh, diabetes, that's like leprosy, we cured it. And let's be real, leprosy got cured during my generation. And I remember like on a tour I did in high school, being part of a leprosy foundation that was trying to cure leprosy. And as far as I know, we're pretty much done with it on the planet. But there's always going to be new things for us to come around as humans, and yoga and Zumba. These are joyful ways to express things. So we're still waiting on Michelle. So I'm going to lead us in some yoga basics. Let's start with a breathing exercise since I've been talking a lot about breath. This is something that I'm going to be using when I am on my bicycle from time to time on the 16th, doing the Ride for the Cure. It's often called equal duration breath. So it's helpful for me as a musician because I often have like a song in my head and I just count 4 counts in, 4 counts out for my breath. So I'm using background music that I can hear from the gym, but I'll count with you and lead us all through. I like to count it on my fingers. So let's do 12 rounds of a 4-part breath, or a 4-count breath. So we're doing inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now, I totally lost count because I was delighted by people saying hi. I'm easily distracted. Hopefully, anyone watching this later gets the idea and continues to do equal duration breath if it feels good to them. I'll teach one more yogic breath, but first I'm going to explain why I like to do a round of 12. A yoga teacher taught this to me years ago. When I'm walking on the beach, I might count the little parts of each of my 4 digits with my thumb. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I do it in a spiral shape around my hands, digits, like the little sections of each finger. And for me, it's meditative to be checking in with my body while I'm breathing. And it's also something that I've done it for so many years that I can do it while I'm riding my bicycle. Sometimes I've done it even to put myself to sleep. And that's where I do the breath where I elongate the exhale. So that's the second breath I want to give a demonstrated example of. And you could call this, I imagine this breath has a good Sanskrit name. I do not remember what it is, but breathing a long inhale and then an exhale that's a little bit longer. So I'll just show what that looks like for me and my body, and I'll demonstrate it without any kind of count. Now, I'm aware of my whole abdomen expanding, and I love that this stripy shirt shows how wide this gets. I'm not pregnant. This is a belly filled with air, right? And I'm over exaggerating. Not everyone will feel their whole belly distend as they inhale, but it's good to take a breath that you can feel low in your body. Also, some people watching might be like, why did she move on her exhale? That has to do with my spinal injury and checking on what's going on in cervical spine, in this whole area of my body, which has been rehabilitating from getting injured. Cervical, neck, spine, but also pretty far down in the lower lumbar. So super grateful to be able to move, and that checking experience is going to become less and less necessary. All right. I think even though Michelle isn't here, it's time to do a little dancing. And I have been getting back into hula dancing as well as getting ready to teach Zumba. What I love about hula is that it's so expressive through the hands. And Queen Liliuokalani, the last reigning monarch of Hawaii, I happen to grow up on the Big Island of Hawaii. And I grew up learning Polynesian dance as well as dancing at the Aloha Theater in Kaneohe. And I am going to be offering this full dance pretty soon, but on YouTube. It's kind of a Zumba cool down, but it's also for me a meditation on coming back into a space of love. And I'm going to film it sideways so you can get the full stretch of the arms and more of the hula vibe. But today we'll do a little bit of what I would think of as just a warm-up for hula. And we'll start by looking at the feet and just getting the feet walking side to side. pretty much all dancing is walking, just a little fancier. And in Hawaii, of course, there's some nice hip mobility to do. Really any kind of Polynesian or Latin dance requires hip mobility. So with my injury, I feel that, especially on a day like today that's very muggy. So I know for the Zumba class I take tonight, I'm gonna go gentle. But in terms of a hula dance, adding hips side to side for any movement, that's a helpful thing. So if you can walk and you can also do this, that's a really great starting point. I'm also going to demonstrate going down and then up again. And these are skills that yoga prepares you for. And there's so many ways to work this, but something in Polynesian dance class in Hawaii with a group called Island Breeze, I learned to do something they called the duck walk. And I love this for Boston because we have the Boston Common and Make Way for Ducklings, and we everybody loves their rubber duckies in Jeeps and cars and all kinds of things. So going down and then up again, all the way down and up, this is something that is easier for some bodies than others, but part of hula class was that we would go all the way down and we would walk forward and then we would walk back. And we'd do it with drums playing. And it was so much fun because it not only got us rhythmically doing what we needed to do, but it also, it required so much strength, and not all bodies can do this. But I think as a 45-year-old, it's part of what has kept me flexible and my body healing pretty quickly, this ability to go down and then up. So from a yogic perspective, there's all kinds of ways to prepare for that. And there's also the reality that some bodies are more flexible than others, so don't hurt yourself with this. But I wanted to demonstrate that because it's such a great strengthener and it's fun. If you can do it with your kids at home, they tend to love it too. You get to pretend to be a duck. Okay, so I also want to do just a little demonstration of some basic hula hands. And this is another thing that yoga is helpful for, is extension through the arm and the somatic awareness of having the arms plugged into the shoulder sockets, arms going out. And when we are doing hula, often our eyes are looking at our hands, which is used in many forms of dance. The hands are telling a story in hula. So the Zumba cool down that I've been working on, well, Pringles. Bad shoulders, we always have to be mindful of the shoulders because the whole system of the shoulder is a complex area. And I've experienced shoulder stuff, and a lot of us do. I think having a long hold, the way we might in like a warrior pose in yoga or doing like a hula kind of movement, this kind of long hold that doesn't have tons of weight attached to it, that can be really healing for the shoulders. And if you're working with an injury, it makes sense to make sure you check in with your doctor or a physical therapist to make sure what you're trying is good for you specifically. So the Zumba cool down that I've been doing is to a Taylor Swift song. The song is called This Love, and it's a wonderful song. Okay. All right. So fingertips tingling is not necessarily a bad thing, but I would check in with a doctor or a PT before doing anything for very long, because I'm not a specialist and I don't know your body. But right now we're going to do just a tiny bit of this, and I'll be putting it on YouTube pretty soon, I think, with a group of people, and we might try to do it outdoors if the weather complies. But for right now, I want to just show the basic movements, and it is going to work a little rotation through the trunk too, which is good for cooling down, good for yoga, and good for working the fact that like not all of us are turning our bodies enough. So I'll give a little bit of this, and in theory, the Zumba class starts soon, but traffic in Boston is weird in the summer. So we'll see if we get a Michelle or not. All right. So this is a cool down that I've taught for Zumba, but also could be a warm up. So I'm going to start by showing just a little bit of the arms. And this is just going to be a preview before the live stream ends. This live stream is all about raising money for the Ride for the Cure for the American Diabetes Association, which means I should totally have like a QR code. And I don't have that here, but I will add it. I will definitely put it on my next live stream. And I am just kind of getting into the swing of doing live streams at all. So thank you for your grace, YouTube world. So this here comes a little Taylor Swift and a little bit of this. And I will say that Ride for the Cure, I'll put in the comments tonight or tomorrow, like our actual team is team 44.4 rides. And I don't know if I can put a QR code in the comments, but I'll be putting that in future lives. So coming back to my breath and inviting anyone who's watching to do just the tiniest bit of this choreography with me. Start by getting yourself in a nice, stable, standing position. Feet are underneath the hips. When the music is playing, there's this beautiful kind of atmospheric music that's playing at the beginning. So we usually start by just kind of swinging back and forth, almost like Tai Chi Gun. And then Taylor sings, clear blue water, high tide came and brought you in. I do this little gesture here. And I could go on and on, and I will. I think I see Michelle coming here. So you've seen just a little bit of choreo for me. I have a Michelle. We're gonna end the live stream shortly because it's almost time for Zumba. Yeah. But this is Michelle Rubiera. Hi. She's amazing, co-owner of this gym. And thank you to everyone who has watched. And Pringles, the fingertip tingling thing, I have experience too. So check in with a doctor or PT. And the you might already be seeing somebody. Dislocation, like that's a lot to be working with, and strengthening through the core tends to be the most helpful thing. Because it's almost time for Zumba class to start. I'm gonna end the live stream shortly. I will add to the comments more. I am trying to get in a vibe of live streaming over the course of the summer. And bless us all, it's not the thing that I've done my whole life long. So thanks again for your patience. And there are lots of people all over the world who are working right now very hard on so many projects. And I want to just offer a blessing of ease and aloha energy. Go gently, because there's a lot of pain that's coming up on the planet these days. Thanks, Pond 3859. And the feeling for so many of us is exhaustion. So while I'm excited to do a ride and delighted to be in partnership with the American Diabetes Association and focused on some healing and able to cycle, there are a lot of people who can't think about anything extra right now like that. And while we might be raising money for something, you might know like a friend who needs help. So while it is great to be raising money for a good cause, all of us breathing into what is true for us and what is doable, I think that's the greatest gift we give the people around us. So stay tuned for that full choreography eventually. And anyone who's in a healing process, whether it is in your body, whether it is psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, keep breathing, trust your intuition, access help and support to the extent you can. I do believe all of us were born to be in this time, and we need each other. So lean on those who you know to lean on, and I'll do my best to be here as somebody who's offering some free things and maybe eventually asking for money in different ways for those who can offer it. So on to Zumba and actual yoga class here at One More Rep. Have a great day or night.